Hey, I'm Jacinta Daniel, writer, speaker, and host of Polished Gems. This podcast is for the ones rebuilding their faith, rediscovering their purpose, and returning to God, one fruit of the Spirit at a time. If that's you, hit subscribe and join the journey because healing is possible and your faith story isn't finished yet. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Polished Gems, the podcast. I am your host, Jacinta Daniel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a new guest with me, so I want to go ahead and introduce everybody to Mrs. Shani Askia. Did I say that right?
Yes, you got it perfect.
Perfect. So let me introduce you all to her. She is a originally from Los Angeles. She's a Los Angeles native who followed the sunshine of her dreams all the way to Atlanta, where she earned her degree in business finance from Clark Atlanta University. She went on to build a successful career in corporate America as a financial analyst for some of the nation's leading companies. Yet beneath the spreadsheets and boardrooms, a creative spark was quietly growing. Shani always carried a love of beauty, and when women kept asking who was behind her flawless makeup look, it became clear that God was ushering her into a new chapter. What began as curiosity soon blossomed into a calling, and that calling birthed Perfect Your Beat Makeup Artistry, a brand devoted to helping women embrace their personal vision of beauty, not society's expectations. Shani believes that perfection is relative, confidence is personal. And every woman deserves to feel like the most authentic version of herself. At Perfect Your Beat, self deprecating talk has no place, only celebration, creativity, and possibility. Whenever a client wants a bold blue lip, or a soft natural glow. Her philosophy is simple. You can have whatever you like. Shani is also a mom, a beauty boss, and faith led woman who transformed a season of pivoting into a purpose driven life. Through her artistry and lifestyle content, she empowers women to trust God through every transition, honor their unique beauty, and even show up confidently in every area of life, from motherhood to business to everyday moments of becoming. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Oh my goodness, that actually makes me sound really, you know, jazzed up and fancy.
Listen, I love it. Everyone says that when they come on here, and I'm like, that's you though. I'm like, the beautiful part is all I'm reading is about you and the things that you've done in partnering with God. And I love
hmm
tonight's topic. Tonight, guys, we're talking about grace in every brushstroke. The gentle art of embracing God's design. And this, when I heard this topic and how it interwoven so beautifully with what you've done over time, I
hmm
couldn't wait to get you on and talk to you more about this. Um, I love that it mentioned you moved from sunny Los Angeles to Atlanta and earned a degree in business finance and then built
hmm
a career in corporate America. That is such a huge difference from
hmm
beauty industry. What sparked your creative pull towards beauty?
Well, for me, it was always there, right? I've always had a desire to create, and it naturally kind of just fell into place. Like I grew up with my mom, who's super creative. She was always doing home projects, painting this, building that. And so for my love of beauty, it kind of just translated into, um, I'm sorry, it just translated into my own personal beauty brand. And I'm sorry, can you see me?
I sure can. Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
perfect. Thank you. I apologize about that. Um, so when I was, trying to develop and say, hey, what is my new identity, right? I finished, undergrad, and I'm like, I wasn't a big makeup wearer. My mother always was a full glam girl like my entire life, but I just didn't transition into that till a little bit later. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to be a big girl now. And so I just started doing my own makeup, and I started getting such great feedback that people started asking me to do their makeup or who was doing my makeup. And so that's how I kind of transitioned into basically doing makeup for friends, for family. And then it just sparked into a business after a while to say, hey, I guess I am pretty good at this. And some of my natural abilities were able to shine through my natural creativity. So it all kind of, I would say my mom probably dropped a little mustard seed of creativity there.
I love that. Yeah, it's so interesting because a lot of people feel like when they get on one path, when God says pivot, right? That's terrifying for a lot of
Hmm.
people to start and to go, they're like, but I've been on this path, this trajectory for a while. And for God to go, but I need you to pause. I need for you to
Hmm.
change. And I love how you said that the spark was already there. You just didn't know it yet. And
Hmm.
a lot of times that's the same for us. We don't quite know it until God goes, okay, try this. And like you said, people were coming up to you to confirm that spark.
Mm. Yes.
So a lot of times we have to listen to those. It almost seems like small, still voices, but it's those confirmations, or I actually call them God winks. When God winks at a
Mm-hmm.
thing and it becomes something that pay attention to. Pay attention to the next one as well. So I love that you said that. Um, can you tell me in the reroute? Because most reroutes, I can admit, the reason why we don't take to them, they don't feel glamorous. They don't feel
Hmm.
like a road that seems easily paved, right? They feel very uncomfortable, uncertain, and even messy at times. How did you navigate the in-between moments as from the spark to your transition?
So I don't really feel like I had to navigate from the spark to my transition because I guess I never fully transitioned. So I've always been a dualpreneur, right? So I've always had my business and I've always had my full-time career. I like to call my business like my passion because it's something that allows me to express myself freely. Whereas I also have a very analytical mind. I love what I do. I love numbers. I love analyzing things. I love being in the corporate America and doing that part of it as well. And it just kind of really plays on both sides of my brain, right? So I get one part during the day, one part on the weekends and in the evenings, and I'm able to feel like a fully well-rounded person, right? Where every part of me is satisfied through both sides of my life. So I feel like for me, the pivot was pretty seamless because I didn't feel like I was giving up anything on the other side. So,
I love that you mentioned that because in this season, there are a lot of people, two things. For some people, God is calling to come out of their daytime job into a full turn pivot. But there are some people who actually need to do what you're talking about, who actually need to stay with the job that God is showing them, growing them in, while also taking on their passions. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, even for them to do, because they're trying to figure out it. Don't let them have a family too, right? Like, how do I do all these pieces of me and how do I even express them without feeling like I'm giving something up in the meantime as well? I love that your brand promotes individuality and self-expression when it comes to beauty, especially in this society where what we think the standard of beauty is not how God sees the standard of beauty. And each individual person to God is beautiful beyond measure, right? As well. And what I want to know is with creating your brand, Perfect Your Beat, how has your journey of growing that brand, growing the artistry of it, influenced the way you encourage others to define beauty for themselves?
oh wow. Um, Growing my brand and to your point, I feel like beauty and the perception of beauty is a very individualistic experience. And so that's why when I work with my clients, I know a lot of people that I work with, and it's kind of my niche, it's like a natural glam, right? It's people who want to feel slightly elevated above their normal, but they don't want to feel like they are not themselves. They don't want to feel like when they get out of the chair that they're going to look like a completely different person. And so because of that, a lot of my clients, returning clients are, I love the way you make me feel. I don't feel, first of all, it's not heavy, it's not cakey, I feel like me. I just feel like an elevated version of myself. And so, that's all that I want to give people. I don't want to, I don't want people to feel like who they they are isn't enough. And like that's the big part of beauty, right? You want to feel like, no, you're still you. You whoever you look like, whatever God blessed you with, features and or lack of features, or just cat eyes versus, almond eyes, and high cheekbones versus not, all these different things. Who you are is enough. All we're gonna do is just, fine tune what's already there. And that's all that most women want. So my brand really kind of helps women feel their most confident selves. And that's all that I ever wanted to do with my brand. And that's how I started out. I wanted to just enhance what I already had, which is what sparked me to kind of go down the path of learning so much about beauty and the different products and how to apply them, just so that I can just feel more confident in my own skin, but not changing who I was ultimately. So that's the motto of the business. It's like, be you, show up as you, and all we're gonna do is just fine tune what is already there. So,
That's beautiful because a lot of people are having conversations on social media about makeup. What's
hmm
real, what's fake. And then with the introduction of AI,
hmm
we have really gotten down this question of what's real, what's fake, what's beauty. And it's even introducing new beauty standards that
hmm
we didn't even have to entertain before. Not none that I remember growing up.
hmm
So I'm so glad you said that really your focus is to enhance what's already there and for women
hmm
to feel their best and still look like themselves when they look back at the pictures or look back at
Right.
video, that they don't go, who is that? I don't know who
Exactly.
this is.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. And guys, on a side note, I can attest to this. She did my wedding and I did a brand photo shoot. She even did my makeup years before that. And I just want to say thank you, thank you. I'm gonna give you your flowers now. You are amazing
Oh,
and
thank you.
wonderful. So, guys, if you're ever in need of a makeup artist, I will make sure to get you guys her handles at the end of this. So this kind of leads me in down the road of my next question for you.
hmm
Since you also use finance and I love that you don't ignore the sides of yourself, right? You have finance and you have the beauty side of your life. Um, it's basically like you said, your analytical mind can also meet your creative mind. And
hmm
what does gentleness, because that's what we've been focusing on for this month of when this will air in November, we've been focusing on gentleness. And what does that look like for you now as your walk in the creative sphere and the finance sphere?
Welcome. So gentleness for me now more so looks like giving myself grace to change. This year and over I would say the past 5 years since COVID, right? My business, my work, everything has changed so much from before then. From a professional perspective, going from working in the office every day to remote work and now doing a hybrid of the two, right? So being able to work from home half the time and then going into the office another half of the time. My makeup business also made a transition because, of course, contact within COVID, not being in front of people, having to mask up, especially with makeup because you're in such close quarters with people's, face, if they are sick or coughing or, fluids of, so being very cautious of that. But overall in this season, just giving myself grace and being gentle with myself when things may not be going how I planned for them to go or at the pace that I planned for them to go. Um, Again, like I mentioned, business changed over COVID. There were laws where, at when you start a business and you start counting on that money to supplement to pay for your living expenses. But when you have big gaps in business, which is kind of similar to what's going on right now with the furloughs and the government and different things like that, when people aren't getting incomes as they plan, you have to pivot and you have to kind of make concessions in other areas. It may force you into more of your finances to really like examine what's a necessity, what's not a necessity. And because of my background in finance, I was able to help myself as well as some friends and family, like, okay, well, let's set up a budget. What does this look like in the next few months, especially my friends who are business owners, because part of my daily job, I do forecasting and budgeting. So being able to help them, like, okay, what are your sales? How does that look at in going into the future, to be able to like maybe save yourself or project out like, okay, this is my end of the road, I would say, as far as finances, and how can I maybe extend that if I cut back on this, or if I'm able to consolidate these things, or work with other collaborate with other business owners to maybe supplement each other in some of the needs that we have, right? So giving myself or being gentle with myself in this season, and allowing things and allowing God to lead, because that's a big part of it as well. Not being in such a rush to do different things, and being able to say, you know what, I'm going to sit back and listen, and kind of um, hear what I feel like is the next step for myself, whether it feels good or not. You actually mentioned it before, like some things sometimes when you're doing pivots, or sometimes when you do hear from God, it doesn't look glamorous, it doesn't feel good all the time. But being gentle enough with myself to one, be real about that, to say, you know what, Lord, I don't really like this, and I don't really feel comfortable with this, but I hear you, and I'm going to do it anyway. And even if there are moments where I do get frustrated, to say, hey, that I'm frustrated, but let me continue to move forward. So just giving myself grace in all of the different segments of my life, including motherhood, because I have now a teenager and a kindergartner, and that is a very different set of worlds. So giving myself and being gentle with myself, even as I parent two different age brackets, because they need very different things.
I'm so glad you brought up the motherhood piece as well in that response, because I am right there with you. Mine just turned 15, and then my son, that's my daughter, and my son just turned 9. And oh my goodness, I was not ready. And
Yes.
I, I believe that grace is very big in gentleness, because we have to realize things are going to change. Outside forces, there's only so much we can do sometimes
Hmm. Hmm.
as the outside forces do continue to change, because the world is ever changing and evolving.
Right.
So I'm glad you even brought up the finance piece about it too, for people who are wondering what to do in this season as the government here in the United States is changing. And actually, governments around the world seem to be changing right along with us.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things of, because we're all interconnected, and it's like, okay, God, what are you doing, and how can I still keep myself going in the midst of all these changes? So I'm glad you mentioned that for those who are experiencing the same thing. So that leads me to this next question, and one of my few last ones here, I think. Um, for those that are listening today and are standing in the middle of, okay, God's calling me to explore my creativity, but of course, I still have this job. I'm also a mom. I'm unsure. I'm afraid. I'm not sure if I should do this. Should I step out on faith? What would you tell them about trusting God with their transformation that He wants?
That's a great question. Or um, the only thing that I do is that I basically bank on the fact that God has never let me down in the past. So why would he let me down now? And keeping my faith strong in that, there have been many, many, many opportunities, and many, many, many times where, that thing about grace and mercy, right? I haven't gotten the things that I should have gotten, and I've gotten more than I probably deserved. And so in all of my different phases of life, and I'll just give an example. So back in 2009, I was a part of, when I was working in the finance field, working in New York City, and it was a part of the whole financial crisis, right? Lost my job. In that moment, I was unemployed 17 months, never with a brand new baby. That's when I had just had my daughter. Never once did I miss a mortgage payment. Never once were my lights cut off. Never once did we have to go hungry. For whatever reason, finances and money and things just continued to flow until I was able to transition into something else. Fast forward to, starting my makeup business, fast forward to going through COVID, fast forward to now, I'm also considering some other pivots and some other opportunities. I feel like when he brings you to things, he has a plan for you to walk down that path. He's just waiting on you to take the next step, or the first step, right? And to believe and trust what he's telling you to do. And so, because it's been proven, it's a proven track record over the years. So why would I now not believe the same outcome of something that has been proven time and time again? So that's how I would approach it. That's how I do approach different opportunities. And of course, the second part of it is also be calculated. Some there again, there are some opportunities where you may have a cushion, you may have family, you may have a husband or a spouse, one way or the other, who is able to support you. I, on the other hand, don't have that. So I have to just be a little bit more calculated when I am exploring opportunities. And I do hear from God. It's like, okay, Lord, tell me how I'm going to do this. And then also let me be diligent in what I'm doing. If it's like, okay, Lord, is this a immediate jump? Because some things can be an immediate jump where it's like, no, I need you to move now. Or is it something that I can prepare for a little bit more? Maybe I need to cut back on Starbucks. Maybe I need to not shop as much so that I can put a little bit more money to the side as a buffer to help me transition. Maybe I need to do them dually at the same time, like I did in my business where I'm working full time and I'm also doing my makeup business because of course my makeup business wasn't bringing in money at first. Well, not a lot of money at first, but it eventually grew to the point where it's a pretty significant part of my life, but at first it didn't. So I had to use my professional income to supplement from buying all the products to doing all of the promo stuff, and there is nothing wrong with that. I think that kind of to one of the points that you made earlier is that so many times we're looking at what's going on Instagram, we're looking at what's going on in everyone else's lives, and we're comparing ourselves to where other people are. But the thing about it is you can't compare your day one to somebody's day 100. You can't compare your situation where I'm a single mother with children to someone who has a support system or has maybe a more wealthy partner that's helping them flourish and grow their business. You can't compare yourself to someone who's following God's path versus someone who's not following God's path, and you don't know where that road is going to end versus yours leading down, and being supported by favor. Everything doesn't that glitters is not gold. So you just have to really pray, ask God for guidance, and then be confident that he won't just leave you as he hasn't in the past. So
That was so good. You touched on so many good points about people understanding history with God, that it really does, you have to tug on that, especially
mhm,
in the times that we're living in, more so now than ever. Like, it's one of those things of not only trusting God in the good times, but it's even trusting Him in the bad times, right?
mhm,
Um, and I am so glad you even touched on no comparison. We really can't, because I could I could see someone's makeup done, or I could see their lifestyle like you mentioned, and I could go, "Oh, I really want that." Not
mhm,
their face may not be my same shape. Their what I have to offer, they don't have to offer. Like, there's so many different things. God made us
mhm,
individually and unique and by design, literally, for us to do whatever we're called to do. Who
mhm.
I'm called to reach may not be who you're called to reach. So it's like,
Exactly.
even in the midst of that, we can't even compare those things. So I love it. I actually want to leave it there, guys. Seriously, I want you to share though. How can people get in contact with you? How can they get their makeup done by you? Leave them the information, please.
So yes, thank you so much, guys. If you would love to follow me, my makeup page on Instagram is Perfect Your Beat, PerfectYourBeat. And on that page is my booking link. You can click it and you'll be able to reach me. I love to work with all types of people. I love all different skin tones, and I really love to teach. So I do also offer opportunity to teach you how to do your own makeup at home because maybe you don't want to have to book a makeup artist all the time, and you just want to learn how to basically perfect your beat. That's actually where the name came from. So that's my handle. That's how you can get in contact with me. You can also reach me if you just have questions about things related to makeup. I'm always open and willing to help as much as I can. So,
Listen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming and being a guest, my guest. on this podcast. I really appreciate you. And guys, that's it for this episode. Guys, I really pray that this has helped you and share it with a friend. Make sure to like, subscribe as well, and even check us out over on Patreon, guys, for more goodies about gentleness this month. Guys, thank you for your time and have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.